What is happening, you guys? I hope you are all doing well. So today we are finally taking a deep delve into the character of Lissandra, the Ice Witch, who lives on the Freljord and has been known to cause some cheeky little mayhem, but she may not be all that she seems. She actually could be a bit of a hero. What? I hear you say. You're like what? Why would you say this? Well, we're going to delve into this today. I don't know a great deal about Lissandra. All I really know are kind of snippets and bits and pieces that I either have kind of found out from when I did my Volibear and Ornn videos, or from what I've kind of been told by you guys yourselves. And Lissandra is definitely an interesting character. There are a lot of aspects for us to get into. For example, she is one of 3 sisters who basically tried to take over the Freljord. She has the power of like the black ice, which is really interesting. She is also linked into the Watcher lore, which is a really fascinating lore that I am so excited to learn more about. I heard like tidbits of Watcher lore and I'm like, you know what? Like, holy, like, they have, like, had such an influence over things happening in Runeterra. It is absolutely fascinating. So I'm excited to learn a little bit more about that today, although potentially the Watchers might be a video onto themselves, potentially. I guess we'll just have to see how much we really learn today in this video. And also there was, like, a big battle that occurred as well between her and her sisters. So I am, like, oh, I'm excited to get into this. I'm excited to watch the trailers, listen to the voice lines, get into the story, and really just kind of like absorb it all. To become a little absorby ball of absorption of knowledge, you know. I want to be like a little league ball of knowledge, you know. Let's start with the biography of this character. It's a great place to start, one of my faves. And let's take a read about Lissandra, who, by the way, can I just say, her character design is actually really freaking cool. I really like this design. She's a pretty fucking cool character. And also, she's going to be in the Nunu and Willump game, which is very exciting. So let's delve into this. So, Lissandra, the Ice Witch. So, in a time long forgotten before the sands birthed and then swallowed Shurima, beings of old magic freely walked Runeterra. The borders between the mortal realm and what lay beyond were hotly contested. In this dangerous and volatile age, Lissandra and her sisters, Serelda, I think, and Avarosa were born. Each sought to harness the powers at war, and each paid a terrible price. Attempting to command the heavens above them, Serelda lost her voice to the first twilight. Avarosa, facing the twisted dark beneath the world, and was deafened by its emptiness, waiting to consume all creation. Oh, and then Lissandra lost her eyesight. Oh my god. Either that's a super weird coincidence, or like that's deliberate. Holy shit, I did not know that. It was Lissandra who stood against the wild magic of the mortal world itself. For this defiance, the savage claws of a primal god raked across her eyes, blinding her. And we know that was Volibear, because that was in the Volibear story. Because basically Lissandra was working against the gods. So obviously, if you guys have not seen my Volibear and Ornn videos, please feel free to check them out. But basically, in lore, so the gods basically, well, demigods actually, technically, because Volibear and Ornn are both demigods. They basically get their powers from being worshipped. So they each have their own kind of like tribes that sort of worship them, or, you know, for example, like for Volibear, it's the Ursine that worship them, and they basically get power from that worship. And obviously, the less they're known, the weaker they become. And so basically, Lissandra kind of set out to basically try to destroy their worshippers so that they would lose their powers and eventually just cease to exist, whilst gaining followers and everything for her and her sisters. Like, that was her goal. So obviously that ended up in a big fight against Volibear and Lissandra, where she got her eyes clawed out, which must be freaking terrifying. But also like that, like either Lissandra is like really like tall and has like a big face, because like Volibear's like huge, so like bear claws like going across the eyes would have to be very specific. But yeah, though each sister had lost part of themselves, it was on the frozen fields of Lissandra's many battles that they were able to unite and prevail. Together they were unstoppable, but even a bond of blood could only weather so much. With her sight taken, Lissandra chose instead to walk in dreams. As she navigated the fitful visions of those around her, she realised that only she could see the darkness below for what it was. The lingering abyss promised not only an ending but infinity. It was death, both dangerous and full of potential, and unknown to her sisters, Lissandra struck a deal on their behalf with the godlike entities she communed with. The Watchers would grant them near immortality in exchange for preparing Runeterra for the coming of the Void. So I remember that the Watchers got mentioned before because in the Necrit video that I watched about the different League of Legends regions, they mentioned that Ithaca had previously been destroyed because they basically, the people of Ithaca, like, I think they, like, tried to summon the Watchers to help them, and instead the Watchers end up bringing the Void in and, like, basically ended up destroying Ithaca because that's where Celine's character's from. So yeah, I remember that being mentioned before. So the Watchers have kind of, like, had interactions with Runeterra, but their goal is to essentially destroy. Like, they just want to destroy Runeterra. So, let's continue. The three sisters and their most powerful followers were named Iceborn. Those with this ability to withstand the worst of the numbing frost would be spared until the very end. However, Lissandra's sisters grew displeased. Avarosa argued that the only thing worse than death was servitude. Even Sherelda bristled against what would become of the world they had fought so hard for. Caught in the middle, Lissandra tried to soothe her sister's concerns while appealing to the Watchers for more time, but the unknowable nothingness cared not for such platitudes. The Void erupted into the mortal world in the far north, and with it, Lissandra's hidden allegiance to the Watchers became undeniable. In that moment, her only choices were to let all the world be consumed or give up what she cared for the most. And Lissandra sacrificed her sisters and the allies they had gathered, entombing the Watchers beneath the glacial barrier of magical ice that can never be melted. Oh, that's so sad. Oh. Also, she had to sacrifice her sisters to basically save the world. But it, like, wasn't even, like, her sister's fault either. Oh, God, that's tragic. I think that's true ice as well. I think that's true ice. Lissandra soon discovered that even this elemental power was not enough. The monstrous beings she had frozen were merely slumbering, slowly tainting the true ice around them into something darker. Yes. Now they wandered through Lissandra's dreams as easily as she had theirs, and always she would wake, terrified, professing her loyalty to the chilling entity they promised. Oh, eternity they promised, sorry. Now they wandered through Lissandra's dreams as easily as she had theirs, and always she would wake, terrified, professing her loyalty to the chilling eternity they promised. Ever the survivor, she gathered her remaining followers to venerate her and her departed sisters. If true ice would delay the inevitable end of all things, then they had to gather as much of it as they could find and scour the frozen lands for any of the Iceborn descent to join their cause. Lissandra and her first among her Frostguard did everything in their power to rewrite history, seizing all records of what had truly happened, and yet rumours and prophecies persisted in myth and song. It was whispered that Avarosa and Sherelda would one day return to unite the disparate tribes, and so Lissandra had any who were hailed as their reincarnations quietly killed. She even retreated into the shadows, periodically renewing herself with the powers she had been gifted. Like that threat that lies trapped beneath the ice, Lissandra has never been able to completely control her sister's legends. Whether from guilt or arrogance, her failure to eradicate their legacy has manifested once more into two powerful Iceborn. One, an idealist, the other, a conqueror, and now between them they lead many tribes within the Freljord. I think that's supposed to be Ashe and Sejuani. I think, because they lead the two tribes that I think have descended from Sherelda and Avarosa. I think it might be Ashe and Sejuani. Sandra watches them carefully, seeking any opportunity to pit them against one another, all the while redoubling her own efforts to lock away the terrible secret she has buried deep under her citadel. And she must hurry, for the ice is beginning to melt. Ooh, fuck. Let it melt. I want to see the Watchers come out. I want to see what the fuck's gonna happen there. Holy shit. I mean, I'm a bit of a chaos bean, but like, oh my god, I want to fucking see that cinematic of the Watchers coming back and everyone being like, oh my god. And like, because like, they look absolutely terrifying. Like, the Watcher design is so cool and it is just, it's amazing. And mixing that in with the Void, ooh, ooh, that would be amazing. Like, oh, that'd be incredible. That would be absolutely incredible. I would fucking love that. Like, the more I read about the Freljord, the more dangerous it sounds. So yeah, that was kind of my reason for saying that Lissandra is kind of a little bit of a hero in that way. I mean, she's definitely like an anti-hero, but like, yeah, she knew that the Watchers would destroy the world, and so she, you know, instead of going along with them and giving them what they promised, she froze them in this true ice to basically save everyone, because she knew. And then she's like, now, and she had to sacrifice like her two sisters to do it, and now she's like essentially keeping watch over them and trying to suppress them as long as she can. But it kind of seems like she's running out of time, and so she may need some help. That is so cool. Oh man, I love that lore. That's so interesting. That's so interesting. I think the story of her sisters is really sad. Yeah, I think that is really sad. But, you know, they weren't like particularly good in the first place. Like, her and her sisters clearly weren't good, you know, they were bad. But it depends on your definition of good and evil, because, like, you know, in the Freljord, between all of these different tribes and characters and actions that they all do, there isn't really anyone essentially good. Like, the only character that really morally isn't that questionable is probably Ornn, because all he wants to do is just work in his mountain and just be alone. And he's doing that, and he is alone, and he's weakened significantly because he doesn't have followers because they died, and he feels bad for that. And so he's secluded himself, and he just wants to be alone and work on his tools, and he will come out and basically, if Volibear's playing up or anything like that, he will try to help stop them from causing any more chaos. But like apart from him, and even he isn't necessarily a good guy, but he's just like, you know, he's doing it for his own reasons. There isn't really a character in the Freljord that's essentially good. They all have their own reasons for doing things, and it depends on your definition of a good or a bad character, you know? It's just, it's a morality thing, isn't it? Everyone has different reasons, and everyone's going to view another person as evil, whereas like another person might view them as good, and like it really varies. But the Freljord is really interesting for that, because it's so morally grey in everyone's actions. Like, even Lissandra, there's like, you know, I would have been like, oh, she's evil, and oh, she wants to take over the Freljord, and all this kind of stuff. It's like one of the only things standing between the Watchers and the entire of Runeterra being destroyed. Doesn't sound that evil to me. However, her other actions are quite evil, but then also, like, you could say that, like, Volibear isn't exactly good. So would Volibear, who basically wants war and chaos and bloodshed, not being in the Freljord anymore, not be a good thing? So it's kind of like, oh, like, it's also morally grey, and that's what I find really fascinating about it. Okay, so the next story that we have to read, because I've actually got three, is the next one I'm going to read is The Hero of the Frost Moon. This artwork is absolutely beautiful. I love this. Hero of the Frost Moon. This is going to be fascinating. I'm excited. Okay, so a hero is anyone who answers the call to do what must be done. They sacrifice so much because of a singular truth. This fragile world requires protection. This means everything to Lissandra, who rarely rests, especially not on nights like tonight, when the stars align in strange ways. The round apex of her private sanctum features many rune-inscribed windows to harness the power from various celestial synergies. Thousands of dark coffin-like ice formations protrude from the snow-carpeted ground. They rise like great black teeth, jutting up from the depth below, poised to devour the sky. She knows exactly how far down these boulders descend, where their roots terminate, and their purpose. Lissandra strolls through this unique structure. Under this alignment of the frost moon and the cold star, she sees more without eyes than anyone who has ever dared set foot in this sacred space. Though it is quiet as a tomb, she hears what no one else can. The voices of the half-dreaming and half-dead trapped within each crystalline monolith. An ancient troll king says nothing. Its deep-set eyes scream with malice as it tracks her path. Oh, so it's alive in the ice. Oh, when she passes out of sight, the troll king's growl shakes its black ice keep. Lissandra counts 13 steps from the troll king to her knight in rusty armour. Tonight he speaks first. "Kill the ice witch," he says, his eyes half-lidded, his grim face stoic. His teeth are broken from decades of gnashing. But his refrain catches on as Lissandra winds through the forest of midnight ice. Kill the Ice Witch becomes a rousing chorus with voices from across the world, all suspended in stasis, reliving the moment they killed said Ice Witch. As for the Ice Witch herself, she finds it beautiful when such a diverse crowd rallies behind a single course of action. Their tortured nightmares lull others to sleep, and tonight, though, one voice is perpetually silent. Lissandra weaves her way through the crevasses between crystals towards one of the most exotic heroes in her collection. Silence breeds mysteries, and she loves coaxing secrets from unspeaking lips. She feels a shift in temperature, an aura of warmth. She's not alone. Someone uninvited walks her menagerie. Her foot falls as whispers on the snow as she follows the trail of warmth. And tongues have no place here, Lissandra says. Release my sister, witch! A voice, gruff and husky, cries out. Lissandra turns to this unseen threat. Up is all she has to think, for a blade-like shade of ice to erupt from the ground, blocking the intruder's path. She hears wind gush from the infiltrator's lungs, then a soft thud of the fall. Demands without a greeting make for ill-mannered guests. The would-be interloper finds a shred of courage, then her voice. My sister is Hara from the Caravanserai of Gilded Scarabs. She dreamt of 800 years of ice unless she slew the prophetess of frost. The girl mustered some defiance. Release my sister, witch, and I shall spare your life. Lissandra finds no need to waste good breaths on a pitiful laugh. Ah, you seek a bargain then? Lissandra runs her bony fingers across the surface of Hara's casing and listens to the voice trapped within. The guest name dances on Hara's tongue, and now on Lissandra's as well. You ignored your sister's command, Marijen. You abandoned the Caravanserai? Ooh, that is a long word. Marijen recoils from hearing her name on the Ice Witch's tongue. How do you? We are similar. I too deplore the pleas of unwise sisters. Release her now, or I will end you. Marijen brandishes a blade that warms the bitter cold. It reeks of familiar and particularly hard-headed magic, forged by an older spirit whose name Lissandra has erased from Freljord's memory. Orn! I'm guessing. Must be Orn. Let's go. Consider the Ice Witch's offer. I shall relieve you of that warm dagger, and in return, reunite you with your dear sister Hara. The alignment of the frost moon with the cold star completes itself. Lissandra cannot see the shimmering pale blue light descending on the grotto. She wonders how it would look to this woman, born in the Great Sigh. Marijen nods in agreement. You are smarter than almost everyone here. Lissandra's blue lips stretch into a crooked smile. Kill the witch! Hara screams from inside her own dark prison. Marijen's heart beats out of time. Then her arm follows through. The blade arcs through the cold air and it plunges into Lissandra's chest. You listen to your sister. Lissandra slumps to her knees then topples over. Silently falling snow shrouds her body. Marijen turns to Hara, encased in the cracked ice. Its surface runs slick with the brackish meltwater. Dark water pools on the white slow. Whatever magic that held her ebbs. Remember when Mother taught us how to sand dance? Follow the heat with the soles of your feet. Follow the heat, Hara. Follow me. The cracks widen in Hara's prison as she struggles to break free. Finally, the edifice crumbles, and there she is, kneeling by Marijen's side in an inky puddle. Relief sweeps both their faces as they embrace. We did it, Marijen says. The Caravanserai is safe. There is no 800-year freeze coming. Hara pulls closer and whispers in Marijen's ear. Sisters who listen, instead of Hara voice, she has the cold, calm voice of the Ice Witch, are the easiest to trick. Oh, fuck. This is not good. This is not good. It's going to be, oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. This isn't going to be good. Marijen breaks their embrace. Hara's eyes widen at the words pouring out of her mouth. Her lips mouth a single word. Run. Only Marijen can't. Her fur-lined leather boots have iced over, freezing her to the ground. Black ice crawls up their legs. I killed! She looks to Lissandra's body but only sees virgin snow. That's when she sees the blade still in her hand. The realization dawns on Marijen. I never threw the knife. A flash of chalk white catches her attention. She looks up to the rune-inscribed window above. Where there should be a frost moon, over a cold star, a pair of dark blue lips stretch into a mocking grin. Sisters, Lissandra whispers to the two women inside their frozen tombs. inseparable, devoted, and yet so utterly foolish. Marjan and Hara, their arms wrapped around each other in a sisterly embrace that turns to terror, they lock eyes as the dark ice entombs their faces. Lissandra admires her latest acquisition. I found it more convenient to lose mine. Where a single rock of black ice once stood, two now stand, joined together at the base. Sisters perpetually reunited, Marjan and Hara from the Great Sigh, their bond stronger than the distance between tundra and desert. A reunion so powerful that Lissandra tastes the satisfaction of the feasting monsters below. The illusions cast by the dreams of the sisters projected through ice will keep the beast slumbering a little while longer. How exhausting this work is, lulling monsters to sleep. Tonight, Lissandra too may rest, for the hero protects this fragile world just a little longer. Oh my god, that was good. Holy shit. So she's having to, like, use, essentially, heroes to suppress the Watchers by essentially feeding the Watchers their, like, dreams. Oh my god. That is amazing. Holy shit. That's so interesting because, like, same again, you can look at it two ways. Like, she's using heroes to, like, suppress the Watchers, but these heroes aren't actually coming there. They're coming there to defeat her. They're not actually coming there because they know about the Watchers. So, like, they are almost, like, heroes that don't know that they're actually heroes. And then she is essentially also a hero because she's doing what needs to be done to stop Runeterra being destroyed. But she's also then encasing these people in ice and keeping them alive for so long. Oh, that's so interesting. I mean, she's not killing anyone, to be fair. So technically, she could let them go because they're still alive. But, oh my god, that's such good writing. Holy shit, that's dark. That is kind of evil, but also it's like evil. Oh my god, it's like evil but for like a good cause. It's like the worst one. Oh man. So again, it's so morally grey. It's just fascinating. That was amazing. I really enjoyed that story. So we have got one more story to just give us a little bit more context and look into Lissandra. So it's the legend of the Frozen Watchers. So let's give this a read. Of all the tales of the old Freljord that have somehow endured into the modern age, there is one and only one that can chill the blood of even the hardiest Iceborn. The Frostguard do not tell it. Many of them do not even know it in full. The decree of the Ice Witch Lissandra herself to perpetuate this forbidden legend is heresy against the true faith, and carries the penalty of death for any who speak it aloud. In all the vast libraries of the Frostguard Citadel, only a single written account remains, and that was penned by her most trusted scribe many thousands of years ago. Few indeed are those individuals across Runeterra who may know the truth behind the legend, and Lissandra can count on the fingers of one hand those who were there in person and might dare to contradict her. The final dark days of the War of the Three Sisters, the Avarosa and Serelda, finally marched their warriors up into the mountain to face Lissandra before the walls of her own fortress. They would not serve the otherworldly masters that she had pledged them to. This would be an end to it. The Ice Witch gestured to the armies they had, the great alliance that had finally brought these wild lands to heel. The mortal Iceborn were all but immune to the winter's chill. The Troll Kings had roamed far across the tundra, amassing tremendous wealth from their conquests. Even the magnificent and terrible Bale Striders, twisted far beyond their original form, moved now at the command of the three. All of this, Lissandra reminded her sisters, was because of the bargain she had made with the masters of the realm below, the beings she knew as the Watchers. It was they who had revealed to her the primal secrets of the world, and it was they who would have the final victory. And it was then, at the height of this bitter confrontation, that the Watchers finally came to Runeterra. The ground split open, swallowing thousands of warriors into the abyss beneath it, before the first of the dread things heaved itself up into existence. It was new to the material realm, bewildered by such notions as form and constancy, and began to immediately rail against them. In a foul riot of unchecked metamorphosis, it sprouted horns and patches of fur, and its colossal tentacle limbs grew into jointed humanoid arms with fingers that clawed at the bare rock of the mountainsides. Worst of all, the other Watchers were following closely in its wake, racked by the horrifying transformations of their own. It might be fair to assume there was a battle. that the Iceborn rallied behind Avarosa and Serelda to fight back the darkness. But in truth, it was Lissandra who ended it. She saw these abominations now for what they were, and knew what had to be done, summoning every last iota of ancient magic around her, including that of her allies. She sacrificed everything to seal the rift between realms with true ice, entombing the Watchers within it. Vast plumes of freezing vapour howled through the chasm, and those mortal warriors who managed to escape were driven to insanity by what they had witnessed. This, then, is not only the legend of how Lissandra saved the world from destruction, but also the first-hand account of the martyrdom of Avarosa and Serelda. And may the three have mercy upon all who read it. Wow. Holy shit. That is amazing. Wow. Yeah, Lissandra's a really interesting character because, I mean, we don't really know, and like, I don't really know initially where they came from. All I know is that the three of them came to the Freljord and began to sort of like take it over, and they obviously got their power from the Watchers, and her sisters didn't really know what that was, and Lissandra was the one that kind of instigated everything. And obviously all the events that have come to this point, especially with like Lissandra where she is now, has all been perpetuated by Lissandra. She has caused all of this, but she also knows that it was wrong. So, like, she clearly has some form of moral compass. It might be a bit of a funny moral compass, but, like, she definitely knows that there's no point in destroying the world. You know, like, you get some villains in media, and they're like, we're gonna destroy the world. And it's like, well, why? Because, like, you're probably gonna be destroyed too. So, like, what do you want? Like, the whole world to restart? Like, I think Lissandra is smart enough to know that, like, there's no point in that. Because everything that she's worked towards up to this point would be pointless, and these Watchers are truly creatures that shouldn't be in Runeterra, and that like they need to get rid of them. So it's like, it's so fascinating to like learn more about it. It's interesting. I think, yeah, it makes it sad that she did have to sacrifice her sisters, but I think that obviously their legacy did still continue as much as she tried to erase it. And obviously, potentially, they've been reborn into Ash and Sejuani, and she's like now trying to like pit them against each other so they don't band together to go against her. Because to be fair, they don't understand, like, if they do try to defeat Lissandra and succeed, there's nothing holding the Watchers back. Which I really hope is something that, like, I kind of am like, do I sort of want that to happen? Because I want to see what's going to happen. But, like, I wonder, like, if there is any, like, because obviously, like, Lissandra's the one holding them back, but, like, that's after she sacrificed, like, everything. Like, she had to sacrifice so much just to get them entombed in that ice. Like, what if they escape? Is she even going to be strong enough to do that again? Like, what is she going to sacrifice? She doesn't have anything. I think she has, like, some loyal followers, but, like, apart from that, she doesn't have anything else. So yeah, that is fascinating. The next thing that we're going to take a look at is the voice lines. Now, I genuinely could not believe that I couldn't find voice lines under skin spotlights. Like, skin spotlights usually have voice lines for every character. I could not find these voice lines. So if you guys do find the voice lines, please let me know. But this was like the best set of voice lines that I found. It was like one of the longer videos, and it seemed to have everything in English, and so this is kind of the one we're going to go with. So it's not ideal, but we've at least got some voice lines that we can take a listen to. I even tried looking for like the Legend of Runeterra voice lines. I couldn't even find like a compilation of those. So I know Lissandra's an older champion and she hasn't had like a rework in a while, so I'm guessing that's why. But yeah, it was really hard to find stuff. So let's take a listen to the voice lines and see what we recognize.
I am Iceborn. Flesh freezes so easily.
Ooh, she's quite...
Foolish child.
She's quite posh, actually. She's got quite a posh tone. Foolish child. She's quite posh. I wasn't expecting that. Oh, interesting. I don't know what I was expecting her voice to sound like, but I wasn't expecting her to be really posh. I don't know why. She just sounds quite posh.
Succumb. It's inevitable.
She just sounds a bit evil.
The cold will numb your pain. Your time has passed. You can't stop an avalanche. Embrace the cold. Feel the power of true ice.
Her voice fits her really well, actually. I was going to say, like, it wasn't what I imagined her voice being like, but it does fit her quite well. She has that, like, I don't want to say evil, because I don't think Lissandra's evil. I think she's morally grey, if I'm being honest. But she has that, like, malevolent twist to her voice that I can appreciate. I think it sounds quite cool. I think it sounds very menacing and very much like a leader, you know, very powerful. She definitely is powerful. Like, I'm not doubting that in the slightest.
Your death serves a greater purpose.
So that is because of the Watchers, I think. So I think that's because she uses the bodies of them to essentially feed the Watchers' dreams and keep them suppressed. But obviously, like, doing that is not a great thing. But I think that's why.
Another frozen corpse.
What? I love that. I just love hearing these, like, so out of context. When it's just like, you just sat there waiting and then it's like, ah! It's like a jump scare. Flippin' heck. It's like the Orn ones. They just kept going on. It's obviously her attack sounds.
I make cold look hot.
That was a fucking good line. I make cold look hot. Dang! Let's go. Loving the confidence. I love that for you. That was a great line. Oh my god. Ooh, I'll have to use that in winter. Oh. Me with a big woolly coat and woolly scarf and big hat. But like, I make cold look hot. Because I'm sweating. Anyways.
I consider frigid a compliment.
Like
is it cold in here? Or is it just me?
Bit cold. Love the laugh.
All will kneel in time. I see things clearly. I will restore Freljord's greatness. Plans within plans. There will be no Thor. Battles come and go. I am eternal.
Well, this is the question. I have a little question about this. So obviously she currently has these powers, right? And she's gotten these powers from the Watchers. But obviously she's now used these powers against the Watchers. So my big question is, do the Watchers have the capability to take back these powers from her, which would also include her kind of like immortality that she's kind of gotten from them? Because at this point she's been alive for thousands of years. I'm wondering is like, can the Watchers take back these powers, or like does she have them permanently now? Because obviously like if they take the powers back from her, there is pretty much no one to stop them. Although it does make me wonder, I wonder if like Aurelian's soul or like the aspects would be strong enough. I don't know. But yeah, I wonder if this immortality that she has, is it a permanent thing or could she lose it?
The Watchers will return. This world has forgotten true power. So many secrets buried in ice. No one will remember them. They cannot fight the cold. This is but a battle. I've already won the war.
I mean, we already know that's a reference to the War of the Three Sisters. I cannot fight the cold. I mean, it is interesting though, because obviously she can wield true ice, right? And she has like the black ice that she has as well. But my question is that like a lot of the characters in this game actually have true ice weapons. So is she capable of using that true ice against them? Or can she not, like, so for example, like Trundle has like a true ice weapon, right? Could Trundle use that true ice weapon against her, or like could she essentially just like probably dismantle the fucking weapon before he even gets anywhere near? Like, was it like she was able to control the true ice because she did the sacrifice and she's now trying to maintain that true ice, or does she have the ability to like wield true ice?
This is but a battle. I've already won the war. I never rest.
Same, smooth.
I never rest.
I know, love, same. Babe. She's lots of grunty voices, doesn't she? A lot of grunty noises. I like that one.
Surrender. My triumph is inevitable.
That was very posh.
The world began in ice, and it will end in ice.
Surrender!
Close your eyes and let the cold take you. Freeze! Entomb! Kneel!
Kneel. Okay, so first of all, Skin Spotlight, you really need a Lissandra voices video, please, because there are so many interactions that I'm sure I've missed there. Unfortunately, just because I genuinely don't have the voice lines. Like, I don't have access to them, unfortunately. I found the Coven ones. There seems to be, they seem for some reason to have done the Coven ones a lot more. However, I'm not going to listen to them because I actually want to do a video about the Coven story, and I kind of think that adding the voice lines into that video might be more beneficial than sort of going over them here, because they kind of add to, like, that Coven story, but they don't necessarily add to Lissandra's current lore. So I'm going to leave them out of this video, which is why I'm not going to listen to them. But there was way more covering all the Coven voice lines than there actually was the Lissandra voice lines, which is a bit of a shame, really, because I was kind of hoping to have a little bit more on the Lissandra voice lines. So the next thing we've actually got to watch is going to be the I've actually got a couple of trailers. Reveal of Lissandra in the Legends of Runeterra game. So she has like character cards out and everything. I thought this might be quite nice to watch this trailer and sort of get a bit of a feel. She might have a couple more voice lines in it, because we really didn't get a lot from those voice lines, apart from some hints about the Watchers and stuff. So there wasn't really any indication about her and the way she interacts with other champions, other than I can imagine specifically towards Freljordian characters, she's probably quite aggressive, and quite like, kneel, and you're gonna be in ice soon, or like, they've forgotten about you, haha. Like, that's probably about it, but that's just a guess. So let's take a watch of this trailer.
Bury the world in ice.
Lissandra keeps watch.
A dark cloud looms on the horizon.
Ooh, the music's pretty.
Feel the power of true ice!
I think they've redone her voice. I don't think her voice is the same there. She sounded really different. She didn't sound quite, like, she still sounds a bit posh, but she definitely sounds different in the Legends of Runeterra game. So I think they may have, I don't know if they've changed her voice actress, but I think like she sounds a bit different. Let's keep watching.
Serve you, lady.
Completely and without question. Secrets hidden by frost. Ages pass, but I am eternal.
Whoa, that was cool. Holy shit. This game is so cool.
All things succumb to the cold. Frost gathers. I am inevitable. awaken. The Frostguard rule the Freljord.
Interesting. Okay, first of all, that trailer was dope. Second of all, I definitely think I prefer this voice acting over the voice acting that we heard in the other video. I think it was good, but I think this one definitely has more of a carry to it, and it definitely is a much stronger voice, and it's more like commanding, and like it incited more sort of fear. I think it makes sense. Like, this voice definitely fits her better. Next thing we've actually got a cinematic, which I think is about Lissandra, so I'm really hyped for this one. So let's give this a watch as well.
The Freljord, a frozen, desolate place. War is coming to the Freljord. The Avarosan, the largest and strongest of the tribes.
Yeah, it's Ash's tribe.
Led by Ash, they seek peaceful unification. The Winter's Claw, the most warlike and brutal of the tribes. Led by Sejuani, they think peace is another word for weakness. Sejuani has sworn to purge this weakness. Through war, the Freljord will be purified. Far in the north, the peaceful Frostguard protect Freljord's ancient secrets. Or so the world believes. In truth, the Frostguard protect me, Lissandra. While others bicker, we prepare. When the time is right, we will strike. They cannot withstand us. They are only human. And when the war is over, the world, our world, will be reborn in ice.
Ooh, that was a fucking cool ass trailer. That was really cool. Oh, I liked that. Yeah, she's like, it's strange because she has like different motivations going on at this point. It looks like she's kind of like still looking to kind of take over the Freljord, because they kind of got to, I think it kind of sounds like they got to a point where they were really powerful, and then because of the Watchers and her having to kind of keep an eye on the Watchers, they really had to like rein everything back. So they essentially had to like erase themselves from a lot of the history. And then they're now living under this like facade in the Freljord, and then they're just gonna like come out of nowhere and like attack them all. That is fascinating. Oh, she's so clever. Oh my god. So I'm also going to give the champion spotlight a bit of a watch, just to get a bit more of a feel for this character, because obviously without the voice lines, I've kind of got a huge chunk of this kind of character story missing, just from like her interactions with other characters and stuff. So I thought maybe having a look at the spotlight might be quite nice. See if we can get anything else gleaned from it, and just have a bit of a look at her abilities. Because her abilities are freaking cool looking. Like,
welcome to the League of Legends Champion Spotlight, featuring Lissandra.
How old is this? Oh my god, this must be like real. Like, look at this. I've not even like seen this like this title card before. Oh my god, this. Oh no, this is gonna. Oh, okay, I'm so curious right now.
The Ice Witch. Fueled by corrupted magic, Lissandra is the Ice Witch of the Freljord and plots to unleash a new Ice Age upon the world. She is a nimble, high-utility mage with an array of crowd control abilities, crushing and impaling her foes in any solo lane. With spells of black ice, Lissandra is a strong contributor to any teamfight and can always keep her enemies at a distance. Iceborne is Lissandra's passive, giving her an occasional free spell cast. Each time one of her abilities hinders an enemy's movement, Iceborne's cooldown is reduced by 1 second for each enemy affected. Ice Shard sends out a spear of ice that damages enemies in its path and slows the first unit hit. If Ice Shard hits an enemy, the projectile shatters and travels farther than it would otherwise. Players looking for consistent damage output should always max this ability first. Ring of Frost damages and freezes enemies in place around Lissandra. Since the ability has no cast time, she won't stop to cast Ring of Frost while moving. However, enemies frozen in place are still able to attack or cast abilities. Glacial Path sends an Ice Claw flying in target direction, dealing magic damage to enemies in a line. By reactivating the ability, Lissandra can teleport to the Claw's location at any point along the path. While the Claw is in motion, she can attack and cast spells freely. Lissandra's ultimate, Frozen Tomb, can be cast on either enemy champions or herself. When cast on an enemy, the champion is stunned and the ground beneath them freezes and expands outward, damaging and slowing enemies in the area. When cast on herself, Lissandra becomes invulnerable and untargetable for the duration, while the ice stems from her position. Ice Shard is an essential tool for establishing early dominance with Lissandra. She can aim it through minions to pressure her opponent from a safe distance. Especially when facing melee champions, Ring of Frost can lock opponents in place for an easy hit with Ice Shard when they get too close. Glacial Path is extremely valuable for following up with ganks. By using Ice Shard to slow Zed just as Vi comes into view, Glacial Path allows Lissandra to keep up even after he flashes away, and she lands a second Ice Shard for the kill with Ignite.
Oh, look how different it looks.
Although Glacial Path is key for escaping, it's important to note that if Lissandra is disabled, she won't be able to teleport. This is where Ring of Frost comes in handy, as it's great for creating distance from pursuers. When being chased, Lissandra can use Glacial Path to easily misdirect enemies. Throwing it over the wall here, she misdirects Shaco into following in the direction of the Claw. Even if he followed her, she still could have chosen to teleport away. Lissandra is an excellent initiator for ganks and can almost guarantee a kill with her full combo. When roaming to the bottom lane, she closes the gap quickly with Glacial Path, then singles out Nami with Frozen Tomb and Ring of Frost for an easy kill, as Caitlyn escapes with a well-timed cleanse. Lissandra can change the flow of a fight almost instantly. As Shaco approaches, she uses all of her abilities in quick succession to burst and lock him in place, then finishes by reactivating Glacial Path early to hop a short distance and get away cleanly. With Ice Shard's low cooldown, Lissandra is exceptional at kiting enemies over long distances. Lissandra first disengages with Ring of Frost and Glacial Path. As Jax pursues her from the Dragon Pit to the second turret, she lands Frozen Tomb amidst 4 consecutive casts of Ice Shard along the way. Jax makes the mistake of continuing the chase despite being whittled down repeatedly by Lissandra. Finally, he dives her underneath the turret and falls to Ring of Frost plus Ice Shard.
Oh, interesting.
With Glacial Path, Lissandra can often set up kills from plain sight. Using Glacial Path into Ring of Frost, she freezes Karthus in place for a follow-up stun from Frozen Tomb. Karthus is locked up long enough for Riven to catch up and get the kill. Although Frozen Tomb is a very destructive spell, it sometimes needs to be used defensively to save Lissandra from heavy amounts of damage. She engages a fight with Glacial Path into Ring of Frost, but takes a lot of counterattack damage. Self-casting Frozen Tomb, she blocks 2 turret shots and damage from Karthus, while still slowing Graves, giving Misfortune a kill.
Alright.
Lissandra complements area of effect team compositions extremely well. As Amumu engages, she hops over the wall with Glacial Path into Ring of Frost and Frozen Tomb, which absolutely eviscerates the enemy team, giving Lissandra a quadra kill.
Quadra kill.
Back.
Is it cold in here? Or is it just me?
When building Lissandra, focus on a mix of magic damage and durability to support her close-range playstyle. For runes, try Magic Penetration Marks, Scaling Health Seals, Magic Resist Glyphs, and Ability Power Quintessences. Try 2109 Masteries, taking Magic Penetration and Ability Power in offense, with
so
mana
different.
regeneration and increased neutral buff duration in utility.
Oh my god.
Flash and Ignite are great choices for Lissandra, allowing her to secure kills and quickly reposition in teamfights. Thanks for tuning in to the Lissandra Champion Spotlight. Please subscribe to the Riot Games YouTube channel and leave us your comments just below the video.
Oh my god, I've never seen that before. That's so cool. Oh wow. Oh, so this is like a proper like old school video. When was this video out? 2013. Oh my god, this is like nearly 10 years ago. Really cool though. It was really cool to see like how you would like build Lissandra as a character, and that she definitely didn't get a great deal of kills at first, but like she's very complementary to other characters as well. So that's super interesting. Okay, so I've one more video to watch, which is the login screen, which thankfully they have for Lissandra. So we're gonna give this a watch and listen to the music, and then I'll give my overall view on Lissandra as champion. It's already building, I love it. I love that. This is really pretty actually. Interesting. So pretty. Wow. That was a really beautiful song, and it's interesting because you can sort of hear the Freljordian, like almost like Nordic sort of like theme underneath it. Like you can hear it very strongly, and it kind of resonates with some of the other Freljordian like themes that I've heard. So it's interesting how hers also fits in with that. But obviously she, she's a character from Freljord, it makes sense. However, what I will say is that the song was weirdly like hopeful in some parts, like especially where, so for example, like with Lissandra, because she wants to take over the Freljord, she is she's relatively through this journey. Obviously I've been saying I think she's quite morally grey, but I think for some of her intentions they are evil. She wants to take over. She's not going to be bothered who she kills to do it. She's going to try and defeat all the tribes. Like she's not hidden from that. She's saying that is what she wants to do. And the music was weirdly sort of like hopeful and like heroic, which I think is a reflection on the sacrifices that she's had to make in regards to suppressing the Watchers, because I genuinely don't think she wants the Watchers to take over. I think she genuinely wants to, in a way, protect her home and the Freljord from the Watchers. She also knows that like she's done this, like she's the one that brought them, she's the one that like contacted them, she's the one that got the powers from them. Like she knows what she's done, and she's sacrificed so much already. So you could almost hear that sacrifice and hopelessness in the music there, especially near the end, like that almost like that almost loneliness from the fact that she doesn't have any friends, she doesn't have anyone, like she's lost all of her family, like they've all died, and if they are around, they're likely have been either reincarnated or like they're living on the legacy of these different tribes that are like trying to like kill each other and stuff. And it's like, it is quite a tragic story. Like Lissandra has a very tragic story. It is sad. However, she is also the perpetuator of her own fate. She's done this. Like she's done this to herself. She's done this to her sisters. She's done this to the Freljord. And in a way, she's trying to probably make up for that by suppressing the Watchers. However, she's also not giving up on her intentions of taking over and ruling essentially the Freljord. So it's like she's still a very morally corrupt character, but she's a very complex one. Considering that like she's almost like got these two completely different sides, where like she's trying to protect Runeterra, but then she's also trying to like take over and start wars and all this kind of stuff. Like, it's two very different sides, which makes her a very interesting character. And yeah, I do like this character. I think she's interesting. She's very interesting, actually. Very well written. And yeah, I really hope that they do a bit more with Lissandra. Like, I think the most recent thing I've seen that she's going to be in is that she'll be in the Nunu and Willump game, which I'm really looking forward to coming out. So I'm like looking forward to having her in that game and seeing what she does and how, and you know, how she treats Nunu and Willump, and you know, is she going to be one of like the antagonists in the game, or is she going to help? Are we going to get some more Watcher lore in that game? I'm genuinely excited to find out. I'm really looking forward to it, actually. Still don't have a release date, makes me want to cry, but anyways, looks really good. So yeah, that is pretty much everything that I can sort of look at for Lissandra. Unfortunately, because this champion is so old, like half these videos are from nearly 10 years ago, there's not really much more I can look at. But that is my kind of review of the character. Interesting, morally, you know, corrupt to an extent, however, also heroic in a weird sense. And yeah, it's definitely an interesting one, because it's not like there's a purely good tribe here. It's not like there's a purely good set of people in the Freljord, apart from maybe the Avarosans to an extent, but then even then other characters don't necessarily agree with that, so it depends. But I don't know a lot about the Avarosans, so I would need to look more into Ash's lore and stuff. But anyways, so I'm going to leave this video here for today. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you want more content. If there's any champions that you want me to review, please let me know down in the comments below. Some of the ones that will be up and coming very soon. We've got Udyr to cover. I've got Kayle and Morgana. That's going to be a video that I'll be doing both the characters together, so that's going to be interesting. A lot to cover with Kayle and Morgana. I'm really excited about it though. Silas is a champion that I want to do very soon. Urgot. So yeah, we've got plenty up and coming, so I'm really excited to delve into them and get to learn more of the lore. But if you didn't know, I'm also a Twitch streamer, so you can come check me out over at GeorgieeGames over at Twitch TV. We've recently started playing League, so I'm really enjoying it so far. I think so far the two that I'm looking at maining the most are most likely Kayle and Miss Fortune, but I do still have more of the other characters to try out. So if you want to come hang out sometime, drop me a follow and come and hang out. It'd be great to have you there. It'd be absolutely lush. And I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Bye!